Welcome to the Code. Construction, design, engineering. This is India's #1 construction podcast. Hi, I am Rishabh Aggarwal from The Code. We are at the Arc Build. This is the second day, and I'm sitting with Architect Kedar Undale, and he runs Kedar Undale design firm, and he works on AI and computational design using AI. A young fellow, practiced architecture, now harnessing the power of AI and helping people to design using AI. Hi Kedar, how are you?
I'm good.
How's the exhibition The Arc Build so far for you?
It's been good. It's mostly I've been able to expose a lot of materials, the new materials, and the light fixtures have been really crazy.
Yeah, they were very interesting, right? I saw that.
Light fixtures.
Lumen architecture or something that.
Mostly working with like paper, sustainable material, going towards eco-friendly.
Yeah.
So that was nice.
That was quite interesting to see as well. You were a panelist yesterday at the AI and emerging technologies discussion that was happening yesterday, right? AI and architecture. What's your take on it? How did you get into this? Why from architecture towards AI? And did you learn some coding for it? Are you a techie now?
Well, let's say primarily I like to work on complex designs, right?
Yeah.
So that means working with curved forms, abstract forms, for which I had to kind of go to tools which are non-conventional. Let's say I started scripting since 2017 and started learning of Grasshopper. That's how I did my master's. Now the primary focus of my work is to how fast I can do it, because most of these shapes take a lot of time. It can take from day to a week. And that's how I started learning AI as well. Because AI, yes, you can do boxes in AI, right? That also can be done in a 30-second time. At the same time, you can also create complex design faster. Now, because I know how to model them, what I can easily use, it's like a replacement for sketching. Like I had to manually sketch it, see where the windows are, where the details is.
Yeah.
Now AI will tell me, okay, this is what it is, and then I can 3D model it. For me, the part of modeling is not difficult, but the part of initial step of getting that form, that is what.
So basically, you're saying there is an idea for the form in your mind, and then you basically put it into Word. Let's say text to image or image to image. But आप पहले उस formulated idea को you put it into the system, and you basically generate an AI-based image, which you then work on to see if it's a feasible design, to see the feasibility using materials, to see the viability of actually constructing it. Correct?
Yeah.
Am I getting this right?
Yeah. So like now one part is this, right? One part is text to image. In between what I do now, sometimes I also see that AI is throwing you image. Like let's say I make a curved building. Am I just accepting what AI is giving?
Of course not.
Or
right?
can I intervene in between? So I'm also trying to negotiate with AI. So sometimes what I do, I give AI, let's say 2 or 3 lines or basic curve shape, and then ask AI to develop on that.
Oh.
So then AI is taking this, it's hallucinating in its own latent space and giving me the result. So what I'm trying to do essentially is be in between step, and then I am giving something, AI is giving me something, rather than me being I am adding and you take what AI feeds you, which I don't think is a good use of AI. So we need to intervene in between and also push what we want and take from AI.
But it's a self-learning system as well, right? It trains itself as it goes on. Machine learning, relearning. Do you think it'll ever get there where whatever you put to text will be designed according to code, reliant on everything that's there? Because वो सारे parameters भी तो जा ही रहे हैं ना उसके अंदर. It's learning the code. It's learning the National Building Code. It's understanding the BIS. It's understanding everything based on a certain region. And I'm pretty sure that can be trained into the model, whichever model it is. So when you feed your imagination in text or in whichever way form, the input is there and it is a very clear and precise input using the bylaws and the code. I'm fairly certain that it will reach a stage where it will create something for you which is unimaginable right now as well.
Yeah. So right now, I think we have to step back a little. Like right now, we are focused on generative AI, because generative AI works from what it generates. Let's say I give my face, I put 100 images of my face, it's going to generate Kedar again. That's what generative AI does. Now let's take a step back. And now what you're talking about is cognitive thinking.
Yes.
Thinking about what bylaws is. For that, we have to, so generative AI is here. Then you have deep learning, then you have machine learning, and then you have the bigger mother AI. So we need to go to that mother AI, because that works on numbers or bylaws or.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Doesn't it evolve into that eventually?
So generative AI is, we are
Way
going below. We need to go up. So
Above, yeah.
for text to image, image to image, generative AI is good.
Yeah.
And that's how we, as let's say I'm not a person who is into tech. For me, this is good, right? But if I am training something, now there are tools like, let's say, test fit, which basically what you do, you have a plot, it gives you a plot, and you can do massing, you can do parking layout. It is working with statistics.
Yeah.
It is not working with generative AI. So what you're talking about bylaws, they're already integrating it, but not in generative AI, but like AI that's at a bigger picture.
Kedar, talking to you, like I have certain questions about the profession of architecture itself then,
Yeah.
right? I don't think it's ever going to die. Human
Of course
element
not.
kabhi nahi jayega.
No.
And the way we understand emotions and how a certain person is feeling in that space and how we need to create it like that so that they can feel like that, or they can sense a feeling of comfort in their home. They can sense a feeling of energy when they're out partying in a commercial
Yeah.
place. A pub or a bar or a brewery or a restaurant needs to be designed in a certain way. Schools, institutions need to be designed in a certain way. Hospitals need to feel soothing rather than what they feel like. जो पुरानी बिल्डिंग्स होती थी ना, इंस्टीट्यूशनल लगती थी. Schools भी वैसे लगते थे. You were made to believe that you're an institution so
Yeah.
that you behave accordingly. So there is a feel to each space, right?
Yeah.
But when I talk to experts like you, especially when it comes to AI and imaginative thinking, and when we actually extrapolate it and take it to the nth, will people need to study architecture to actually do architecture then?
Well, let's go.
It's a tough question, isn't it?
Yeah, but I would like to answer it differently.
Sure.
Let's take a self-driving car.
Yeah.
Do you need to learn driving?
But you need to know everything about it.
Exactly, right? Let's say it's a self-driving car. It's also working on AI.
Yeah.
It understands the road, the line. But let's say it breaks down. Something happens. You see the recent accidents also happen. So you have to learn driving as well. So even if you take social media, if you scroll, it's working on AI. There's so much garbage that's going on.
Yeah.
And if it just goes on, a human is always going to be in the loop.
Absolutely.
So with any profession, let's say architecture, engineering, a human is always going to be in the loop.
Yeah.
To be able to retune it, refine it, and that will never end.
But it's not just designing the place, right? Or designing the building, or designing the urban space, or designing the landscape. It's not just design. It is also, while it's being built, there are challenges.
Yeah.
It's also the problems that arise because design table kuch hai or site kuch aur hai.
Yeah.
And when the problems show up, then that human cognitive brain is required, right?
Yeah.
You're on the job to solve that problem and to fit it to design is something that still I don't think AI can sort of cross and map. Do you think? Am I wrong?
I think in the future, so there is something called as strong AI. Have you heard of strong AI?
I have.
That's the future. Like they are saying that it will mimic complete human
तो
cognitive.
अपन क्या करेंगे? कुर्सी पे पैर रख के बैठेंगे, chill करेंगे, buildings
तो हम-
बनती जाएंगी.
So वो तो अभी भी हो रहा है. What we are actually doing right now, if you see,
Yeah.
buildings have been already built. Why is there so much of global warming? Why is there so much of, now you see
Sure.
that floods are happening, water drain is happening. Why is that? We are just let's say concretizing everything.
Okay.
So at least
We're not building mindfully. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, I'm saying we are not building mindfully. So at least let's say I believe maybe if we have, let's say if AI predicts that if you build completely concrete, this is the drawbacks. Once you know the drawback, maybe we as humans are going to
Go back
train
to
the
sustainable
AI
materials.
in like going backwards. Because at the end AI is working on data. What you feed it, it is going to take a step further.
Okay.
Now, so yesterday in the panel discussion we had a question: how do you tackle urbanization in a city like Bangalore?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
This is a big question everywhere, by the way.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact, like 6 months back, 8 months back, there was a acute water shortage in Bangalore.
exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
So we're reaching that stage where the cities are getting burdened too much.
Exactly.
And eventually there's so much housing being created, so many offices, whatnot, lifestyles, people, livelihoods walking into that city, moving, shifting, and then the infrastructure not being able to support it.
Exactly. And now when you ask AI, what AI is going to do is going to tell you, okay, I will predict that the next urbanization happens in this part of Bangalore, taking all the data. But do we actually want to push AI and give this data, or do you want to give a data of some other city which is working perfectly, where even if there is rain or there is harsh climate, it's working perfectly, and then put that data in the city of Bangalore?
Yeah.
Because at the end, it is going to evolve on what data
So
you
that we
feed
don't
it.
overburden a certain sphere of
Exactly.
region.
So I don't think human intervention is never going to go out, because
But then that sort of increases our responsibility as cognitive human beings, because it has to be very mindful, right? We have to be very, very careful planning our cities and our urban spaces after that.
Yeah.
Because I know for a fact that when it comes to ML, when it comes to AI, when it comes to anything being regenerative and relearning and rethinking, it's a machine on work 24 hours, right?
Yeah.
It'll mass produce. It'll definitely push you to mass produce. And if we just build mindlessly, like you said, I think we'll sort of be in a soup ourselves, right?
Yeah.
वो भी नहीं करने का है. But आप जो बात कर रहे थे, you design sustainably. You mentioned that you use natural materials a little more, and that's how you design it. Is that the focus that you
No,
use in your design philosophy, or like
No,
what's
not
happening?
really.
Depending on the project.
Yeah. So mostly for me, AI is simple. It gives me complex designs. For me,
Okay,
it's
and then you function around that complex design, see how it works.
So then I rationalize it. Let's say it's following the code and things like that.
Right.
You know, or let's say if I have a, let's say a pattern, like, let's say how do I convert this into AI? So I try not to rely totally on AI, because these days I'm also asking the question, how much AI should I use in design? Like,
Interesting.
because like you were saying, AI is going to take further.
Yes.
But
It's its nature, no?
It's nature. But what we human can actually do is we have empathy, we have sensitivity. That
आज
training.
तो है, लेकिन आगे अगर वो ये convenient हो गया, तो शायद नहीं रहेगा ना.
But that will be the core values to follow on later on.
We like to multiply, we like to mass produce, we like to grow, right?
Yeah.
Economic growth and like financial growth and what kind of growth. We don't see anything in terms of maintaining status quo. आज ये exhibition इतना बड़ा है, कल इससे 4 गुना बड़ा होना चाहिए, 10 साल बाद इससे 20 गुना बड़ा होना चाहिए. We should actually occupy the entire city of Bangalore when we do it next time around. क्योंकि exhibition centers और सब कुछ बड़ा होता जा रहा है, correct? Conferences or exhibitions like DARC sort of give us this ability to come out and say things and share our ideas and our values, which is why I'm a huge fan of such exhibitions. Kedar, it was a ignited conversation with you. Boss, कुछ सीखने को मिला आज. And I always look forward to the youth. I always say the future is definitely emerging technologies and harnessing it in the right way. Such a pleasure to speak to you here today. This was Kedar Undale, and he is somebody who is into computational and AI-based design. I am Rishabh Aggarwal, your BuildMate friend from the code, and we are at DARC Build. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day.